Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome in here tonight, race fans, to the Myrtle Beach Raceway here tonight for the Mortensen's Championship Night for the North-South Racing League. This is not Al Smith. If you haven't figured it out, race fans, my name is Roger Muth, here to bring you some of the racing action. And alongside me, the voice here of the series, it is Kelly Daw. Kelly, it has, well, been a great season for you guys. For everything I've been told, we've had a lot of great racing through the first 9 rounds, and it all comes down right here to Championship Night.
Yeah, it is going to come down to the last night of the season, and early on in the season, it did not seem like it was going to be that way. Bryan Hacker took an early lead, took a commanding lead, and then throughout the second half of the season, it slowly got chipped away by Scott Austin and Dylan Connor, and now we are sitting here, championship night. It is a good night for Bryan Hacker. He only needs 37 points, not a huge haul, but there's still an opportunity for Austin and Connor to get things done, and we are now moving into our qualifying session to let these guys figure out where they're going to be starting this championship night.
Yeah, you talk about the points coming in and where the top 3 sit. There are 51 points possible for a max race score, if you will, with the finishing first getting 40. The winner bonus is 2. Fast qualifier gets 1 point. So a perfect night, if you total that all up, comes to a 51 points. Connor's 18 points back. Austin is 15 points back. So there's still a chance for those top 3 drivers to go ahead and kind of pull this off here tonight. McDuff is sitting fourth in the championship standings, 50 back, but with the amount of cars and the points on the line here, kind of throw him to the wayside here as we are in our qualifying session. A couple drivers out there already, one going straight to the top of the boards here. Looks like it's going to be car number 75 of Chuck Sweeting so far out there, has pulled the quick time.
Yeah, not going to improve on his second lap, so it looks like it is going to be a 1-lap kind of event here tonight. So see a lot of these drivers, they come out, pull out the first lap nice and slow, then go hard on the second. And here comes Justin McDuff jumping to the top of the board, 19.268. So taking a huge chunk out of Chuck Sweeting to move to the top.
As I see there on the left-hand side of your screen, the couple drivers here who have taken a qualifying effort here tonight at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Raceway, however you would like to call it, Kelly. You're north of the border. Sometimes they switch it up.
I think it's, with this kind of thing, it's more of a branding deal, so I don't think it changes depending on where we are, but I believe it is Myrtle Beach Speedway. And we got a few more drivers out on track. Brian Schroyer has put down his first time. Rodney Huntoon just started his lap. Robbie Clavey as well, about to come across the line. Waiting to see what these results of these times coming up on the board here. Brian Schroyer will run a 19.518 as his fast time. Robbie Clavey getting on the board with a 20.0, so he's going to be going for it on the second lap, it seems.
Huntoon to the top of the boards right now with a 19.22 second lap. That's on his first lap of 2, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and shut down car number 12 after just 1 lap and taking the provisional pole as it sits.
One thing to note is Dylan Connor has taken the fast time every single week this entire season. He's now rolling out on the racetrack. Let's see if that 90 can claim another Al's Speed Shop Fast Time Award. We're going to have to keep an eye on that 90 car as he warms his tires up, gets himself going. Adam Gable, though, in the meanwhile, moves himself up into 5th, gets himself into the redraw position. Right now, the driver that is on the bubble for that is Brian Troyer.
Kelly, you just said Al's Speed Shop Quick Time. Do you know what they really call Al's Speed Shop?
He has not told me.
You know what? I shouldn't even say it on the air. Can't make fun of the guy if he's not here, right?
Dylan Connor scraped the wall off of 4 on his first lap, so that first lap will not count. Let's see if he can put down the second lap. Hopefully, it didn't disqualify both laps here for the 90 of Connor coming across the line now. Let's see what that time is. Is he going to go perfect on the season? No, he won't. Dylan Connor going to miss out on the Fast Time Award for the first time this season. 19.237. It's still going to be Rodney Huntoon. Bryan Hacker going to move up to second now with a 2.33.
So championship night, rolling the dice here for some of these drivers. And that perfect season, that perfect streak is officially gone. One driver still out onto the speedway here to come through. That's going to be last week's winner, I do believe, car 54 of Brandon Elvis, one of the rookies. And he'll actually go to the top of the boards on his first lap, a 19.21 second lap. Fast time here out of the 14 drivers who have taken a qualifying effort here tonight out of the 15 cars scheduled to roll in.
Yeah, because he won last week, he'll be taking EOL and he will not be a part of our redraw. However, he still has an opportunity to jump past one driver in the standings. He comes in 7 points back of Justin McDuff, so he could possibly get himself a nice 4th place finish here for the season with a strong night here tonight. And he's starting it off with a fast time.
So as he has fast time, let's introduce you, race fans, here to our one other secret pick here tonight. We got Brett the Jet in the booth with us, kind of pulling the old pit car duty. Brett, what are you seeing out there here in our qualifying session tonight?
Yeah, boys, it's looking like a good night here tonight. Track's nice and cool, and it's only going to get colder as we see the lights already kick on, the sun sets. It's going to mean some fast times, and I think a lot of action under the lights here tonight.
Absolutely beautiful. Kelly, though, I do believe we're headed into one of those, what is this called, the redraw.
Yeah, it is the J&D Farms redraw. Now, don't look up J&D Farms. It is the product of a crazy redneck, so to say, and just wanted to get his name out there and support the league. So we thank J&D Farms for sponsoring our redraw. But we're going to go ahead and get to our first driver of the night. And because of Brandon Elvis taking the EOL for winning last week, our first driver, is going to be the number 12 of Rodney Huntoon. So catching up now with Rodney Huntoon. And Rodney, looks like you have a fast car tonight. How has the track been feeling for you?
I don't know if it's fast car or just luck, but either way, I'll take it.
Well, a 19.216 is one right up there, so hopefully you can have some long run pace here tonight. But because of Brandon Elvis taking the EOL means you get first pick of the night, 1 through 8. What would you like?
Let's take number 1.
Taking number 1 off the board, and that number is going to mean you are starting on the pole. So first driver of the night, immediately taking the pole off the board, and it's championship night. Are you going to be able to play spoiler here?
I'll probably not. These guys are strong, and this track's hard to race on, so I'll just hope for a podium finish tonight.
Well, you're going to have 14 cars rolling behind you to start the night. Let's see if we can maybe talk to you at the end of the night. Good luck, Rodney.
All right, thank you.
So Rodney Huntoon comes in second fastest, takes the first number, and immediately takes pole position away, Roger.
Absolutely crazy. Kelly, let's see if I get this right. The driver who qualified third here tonight is going to get the second pick, and it's been a long time since we got to talk to this man. How about it, Mr. Bryan Hacker? A third qualifying effort for you means you get to pick second here tonight, and I'm not sure how it all goes down, but I got 2 hands, and how do you feel with your 2 hands out there on the speedway?
It's not too bad. Tonight, I like Myrtle Beach a lot, so Hopefully this all shakes out for us. We just got to keep our nose clean. Try not to get into situations like we did last week, and we'll make it out on, hopefully on top of the points tonight.
Well, that point championship is definitely a thing of topic here tonight, and you can start here pretty well as you get to pick anything but number 1 right now. So what do you got underneath the sleeves?
I will go number 4.
Number 4, that's not a good number for you. Looks like you're going to be starting in the 7th position here tonight.
That's all right. Could be worse, but it's good to hear from you, Roger, and congrats to your family, man.
Hey, you too, sir. Keep her clean, and hopefully we get to talk to you at the end of this one.
Sounds good. Thanks.
There it is, Kelly. Bryan Hacker, the championship hopeful, going to roll from the 7th starting spot.
Yeah, we've seen him charge to the field before. We'll see if he can make that charge up once again, but we're going to talk to one of his championship contenders now. That is going to be the driver of the number 90, Dylan Connor. And Dylan, coming in tonight just a few points back, how confident are you feeling at your chances?
I feel like I got a decent shot. Slipped up a little bit qualifying there. I was really needed that last bonus point, but yeah, I think we'll have a good shot. If we can save the tires, this Myrtle Beach is gonna eat tires up, so if we can save some tires and be there at the end, that's the main thing.
Well, I'm sure you saw, and I'm sure you're thankful that Bryan did not take that bonus point there here tonight, but let's get into the redraw. Numbers 1 and 4 have been taken. Other than that, what would you like?
I'm gonna go with number 6.
Taking number 6 off the board, you'll be starting in P number 6 here tonight, so there's going to be an outside starting spot. How are you liking that? Are you think is that inside line going to be dominant early on?
Yeah, I feel like early on, I think it'll play a big role, but I think towards the end of the race, the outside line and track position is going to be huge. So maybe we can fall in line and then towards the end of the race make something happen.
Well, big night ahead of you, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later on, maybe even talking to you as a champion. Good luck, Dylan.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So Dylan Connor going to be starting just ahead of his championship rival, Bryan Hacker, and Roger is already starting to shape up to be an interesting night.
Yeah, first is off the board, 6th and 7th, so there's a lot of good starting spots still left here tonight. Kelly, what do you say we roll it along the driver who actually qualified 5th here tonight? That'll be Justin McDuff. Justin, a good qualifying effort for you, a good year so far in the championship standings, hitting 50 points back. And tonight, well, how do you feel with those turtles down there in turn 1?
I'm going to try to stay off them. I've been tempted a few times, though, throughout practice tonight just to kind of dip the car down there, especially as it starts to free up a bit. So we'll see how the race goes.
So you got the turtles down in turn 1. You have the inside wall in 3 and 4 there. Which one's more dangerous to you in your driving style?
The wall in 3 and 4 tonight has been a bigger issue for me. Usually it's the other way around, so maybe I can find a balance and stay off both of them. That'll be the goal.
Well, let's see if you can balance it out here with a good starting spot. Pick 1, 6, and 4 are off the board here tonight. What do you got?
I'll go with 7.
7 is going to start you outside row number 1 here tonight. How do you feel about starting on the front row there, Mr. McDuff?
I'll take it. Track position's always so important with these races, but I think with 175 laps and some weird strategy, it's going to come into play with the fuel load. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Well, we'll see at the end of the night how this one shakes out for you. Good luck out there, Justin.
Thanks. Enjoy the race.
Kelly, first is off the board. Second is off the board. 6th and 7th now officially gone.
Yeah, we still have a few more drivers to get through, though, and next up is going to be the driver of the 89 machine, Dustin Shepard. Dustin, welcome to the redraw here. Running a 6th place qualifying time. How has the car been feeling for you tonight?
It's pretty tight. So I'm worried about the right front with my driving style. I can't figure out how to take it easy on the right front.
At 175 laps, that is going to be a big deal here tonight, taking those tires as long as possible. But we're going to get into the redraw here. Your choices for tonight, numbers 2, 3, 5, and 8.
Let's go 3.
Take number 3 off the board. Do it for Dale. It is going to be a P5 starting spot. So you're going to move ahead 1 spot there. But I think most crucially, it's going to move you to the inside. And is that really what you were hoping for?
On the start. on the start. So, but we'll see. I could be wrong.
Well, I think you're not the only one that's hoping for the inside there. So watch for cars merging from your right, and hopefully we'll be talking to you a little bit later on.
All right. Thank you.
So Dustin Shepard draws P5 here, Roger, and we're down to our last handful of drivers.
Yeah, there's 2 drivers left here tonight to pick, I do believe, if I have it right on the old bingo card here. And how about this driver? He qualified.
Roger, you are muted.
Well, I may be muted to you, but not muted out to everybody else. They heard that. So, hey, there's a whole bunch going on my bingo card is essentially what I had just said. But I do believe we have Mr. Campbell standing by here. Brandon, a good run for you. What do you think here tonight for 175 laps?
I'm going to have to keep the tires on the car and hope for the best. Add other people's messes.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of these drivers here tonight so far talk about tires. What's going to be the story here in, say, the first 75 laps behind the wheel of that car?
I think just try to make it as much as we can and have the right pit strategy.
Well, the right pit strategy could start right from the drop of the green flag with a good starting spot. What do you say we got? Pick 2, 5, or 8?
Let's go with 5.
5. It looks like you're going to be starting outside row number 2, P number 4 here for you. How do you feel with that? Everybody says the inside's where you need to be.
Yeah, I think we got to get down there as soon as we can, and hopefully the top line comes in.
Well, we're going to have to figure this all out together here, my friend. Good luck out there for the 175 lap.
Thanks, guys.
There you have it. Braden actually going to start P number 4. So, Kelly, it looks like from my bingo card, we have 3rd and 8th left here.
Yeah, just 2 spots left here, and I think they only have 1 driver lined up. Looks like Chuck Sweeting will not make it in here for the redraw, so he'll just get whatever's left. But let's go to our next driver here, and another one of our championship contenders coming into the night, 16 points back, and you're back behind your own teammate there, Scott. So you guys maybe playing little mind games, trying to throw each other off with your strategies?
All right, we'll try. We have a lot of fun racing each other straight up, and just let the fastest car win at the end of the day. So, we'll give it everything we got tonight, and either way, it sounds like we're gonna have a good outcome.
Well, you could start off with a good starting position here. So your numbers to choose tonight are 2 or 8.
I'll go 8.
Take number 8 off the board, and that's not exactly what you're wanting. You're going to be dropping a little bit back there to P at number 8, but good news for you is you're actually right next to the other 2 championship contenders.
Yeah, it's a long race. I hope I don't need the 10th that I was missing in qualifying in the race. We'll just try to hold it together as long as we can and work our way forward like we've been able to do recently in recent races and see where we end up.
Well, as 175 laps long race ahead of you, have you got any sort of strategy already pre-lined up, or you just kind of go with what you're given?
I think you're going to have to go with what you're given, kind of following along with the other 2 championship rivals here. I think we're all going to be kind of watching what each other is doing, and I think we've pretty much at this point just got to kind of figure it out on what you have to do, and the others can force your hands as well. So we'll probably do a little bit of following, or maybe we'll get followed. So I would expect to see us all pretty much on the same strategy at the end of this one.
Well, we're going to wish you luck. Hopefully we'll talk to you a little bit later on, and maybe we'll even talk to you as a champion. Good luck to you, Scott.
Thanks, Kelly.
So that was Scott Austin. He's going to be starting back in P8, but the funny thing is P6 and P7 are the other 2 championship rivals, so all 3 of them starting right up together here to start the night.
Couldn't have drawn it up any better from a Hollywood story plot with those 3 drivers starting right in the same bubble. So, Kelly, let's see if I got the bingo card right. Hontoon's going to snag the pole here via the J&D Farms redraw with McDuff, Sweeting, Campbell, Shepard, Connor, Hacker, and Austin.
That is exactly right. That is how things have shaken up here from the redraw, and it's kind of why we enjoy doing it every single week here. It kind of shakes up the starting positions. You have these fast guys that are all going to be starting a little bit further back in the field, kind of in the midfield position. So it'll be fun to see what our championship drivers are able to manage here tonight.
Well, that was interesting, Kelly. That was fun. I do appreciate the help there with getting that one all squared away, race fans. But we got 175 laps coming up here at the Myrtle Beach Raceway Speedway. It's no longer there. It's an Amazon fulfillment center. But thanks to iRacing.com, we always will have it right here on the sim for all of us race fans to enjoy for, well, as long as iRacing lets us keep it here. We're getting ready here in just a couple of seconds. Let's touch base with Brett the Jet out there. Brett, you've been out here. You heard about the redraw. You heard somewhere these championship drivers are going to start. In your mind, from behind the wheel of that driver's seat here tonight with the lights on, the temperature dropping, you heard about tire wear. Where do you want to start this 175 lap feature? Inside, outside?
Yeah, I think the easy choice there is the inside because that's where you're going to make moves. That's where you're going to make passes. And especially a car like this, 500 horsepower underneath the hood, nice wide slick tires on these things, a lot of grip through the corners, and that's just going to help the bottom side keep it rolling. And I think you want to be on the bottom side both for making moves and defending people because we'll see probably down into turn number 1, that being the prime time to make a pass on someone here on the bottom side.
Brett, can we make some passes during the green flag pit stop if we have it?
I think so there. That would be a wild time, and we'll for sure get one pit stop here. 50% fuel load in these race cars, so definitely not enough to make it the distance here in this one.
Well, we can't wait to see it all together here. It looks like we are getting ready to go racing. Let's get that starting a lineup here tonight. As we told you about how it's all going to shake down. Don't look at the top 8 on the screen. Hear it right here. Starting on the pole here tonight due to the redraw. Rodney Hontoon going to snag the pole with Justin McDuff starting to the outside of him. Chuck Sweeting will start P number 3 here tonight with Braden Campbell right there alongside him. Dustin Shepard to start into the 5th spot, while Dylan Connor, one of the championship hopefuls, will roll from the 6th starting spot. 7th will go to the championship leader coming into the night. That'll be Bryan Hacker and his teammate right alongside him. That's going to be Mr. Austin. That is Scott Austin starting into the 8th spot. 9th, I do believe, is going to be Adam Gable, and then it's going to be Chad McLeod.
And will be followed by Robbie Clavey rolling off in what will effectively be, I think, still P12. Brian Troyer in 13th. Dan Jan in 14th, but he has missed the call to the grid. And Jeff Bergener tagging onto the back end of the field. And then our one EOL from the week, since he won last week's race, it'll be the driver of the 54, Brandon Elvis.
That is the starting lineup here tonight for the 175. I want to go 150, but it's 175. Don't want to shortchange these racers or the race fans out there. Race fans, we got to thank you tonight for tuning in here in the Turn 3 Racing Network. My name, Roger Muth. That's Kelly Dahl. We got Brett the Jet hanging out down on pit road here tonight to get ready for this 175 lap feature. Kelly, it's the final time here before we drop the hammer tonight. What do you got?
Yeah, we have a stacked field to watch here. Of course, drivers to watch being Scott Austin, Bryan Hacker, and Dylan Connor. But keep an eye on Brandon Elvis. He has shown some speed through the season. Maybe he can make a charge to the field.
Coming through 3 and 4, set the championship night up here tonight, race fans. What do you say we give them a good send-off here tonight? The Myrtle Beach Speedway playing host of the championship race. Green flag into the air. Here we go. 175 laps.
Rodney Huntoon leads the field into turn 1, and he'll pull ahead there past the 20 of Justin McDuff coming down the back straightaway. McDuff gets a good run. He's able to slot himself back down into the inside row. We've seen the inside is the place to be tonight. So McDuff making that move in front of Sweeting as soon as he can. Sweeting now still side by side with the 33 of Campbell.
Campbell trying to get it done. Sweeting trying to pass him up, though. That's for that 3rd and 4th position. They're lined up just behind them, too, with Shepard and Connor, and Austin and Hacker still side by side. Leading lap 1 was Rodney Hontoon. Leading lap number 2 is Rodney Hontoon. And looking at the quick times here, right now, Rodney Hontoon out front setting the blistering pace, 19.48 seconds. We'll see if these drivers can keep that pace up here as we're still side by side for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th position.
Yeah, field stacked up behind those two drivers that are side by side there. Chuck Sweeting and Braden Campbell still have not sorted it out. Scott Austin has slipped in behind Bryan Hacker. He was not able to get things done on the high side. And now Dylan Connor slowly slipping back here as Hacker gets towards his inside. Remember, Bryan Hacker does not need to win tonight. He only needs to get 37 points. And He is in a good position to do so right now as he is inside of his championship rival of Dylan Connor. And the 89 Dustin Shepard, he's now down to the bottom side. It's still side by side, though, for third place of Braden Campbell and Sweeting. Meanwhile, Huntoon and McDuff starting to run away from the rest of the field.
Battle for the top spot here. Here comes the number 20 of McDuff. He'll go to the inside in turns 1 and 2. Stay away from the turtles and give yourself the room. Drag racing down the back straightaway. Now McDuff will nose ahead in car number 20. See if he can complete the pass. Rodney Hantu not going to put too much of a pressured effort into that one. New race leader at the line here tonight with 6 laps completed. Justin McDuff will lead for the first time.
Bryan Hacker got to the inside of Dustin Shepard. He's now going to try to make that move stick here on the bottom side. If he gets up to 4th place, he is guaranteed this championship no matter what the bonus points fall here. So Hacker is trying to get himself up just a couple of spots here. Meanwhile, Campbell and Sweeting have finally sorted things out here after 7 laps. They have moved along here as Braden Campbell was able to make the pass. Sweeting now dropping back. Sweeting leaving the door wide open. And now here comes Bryan Hacker immediately shoving his foot in the door. He's going to try to move himself up there and get himself into the guaranteed championship spot.
Yeah, right behind them, those 2 drivers, that's Shepard and Austin, are both trying to fight for the bottom. Almost a little contact through 1 and 2 there. The Austin Designs number 5 of Scott Austin will nose ahead barely into 3 and 4, and they're just about inches away from making it 3 wide on the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. Not going to make it happen, though. They go 2 by 2, and now coming into the battle, that is the 90 of Connor coming back in here. He fell back just a little bit. Now he's right back there. He'll get to the inside of Dustin Shepard, so it's still 2 by 2 for the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th position here.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if Chuck Sweeting maybe cooked his tires a little bit too much here, fighting with the 33 of Campbell, but at the same time, Campbell has been moving up. Campbell's putting pressure on Huntoon up for 2nd place there. Meanwhile, Chuck Sweeting losing ground to Scott Austin. He has an opening there on the bottom side. He's got to get down, and he's immediately going to jump right down to the bottom in front of the 90 of Connor, but going into turn 1, once again, going way up the racetrack, leaving the door wide open, and just behind them, bit of contact back in the field. 21 of Bergner goes around, and our first caution of the night is gonna fly here as the mad plowing yellow flag is brought out for the 21 of Jeff Bergner.
There you see Bergner rolling away down the back straightaway, trying to get a good look there at the all chromed out number 21 of Bergner. I don't see much damage. It could be the optical illusion here tonight on the speedway, but let's take a look back here at what brought out the caution flag. Down the front straightaway they go, and I believe that is Chad just behind him in the number 93. And a little bit of a contact. Looks like the 93 got back to the throttle just before Bergner was ready to go, and that's what will bring out that caution flag here tonight.
Looks like he did not hit anything. He does not have any damage, but about half the field is coming down pit road here. So a lot of drivers taking the early jump to pit road, getting some fresh right side tires and some fuel, and maybe trying to see if they can pull a strategy call early on.
Yeah, we talked about having to pit here. Brett, pitting this early, what does this set you up for here tonight? I believe we looked earlier, and it was right around 75, 80 laps for that pit window.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think what we're seeing right now is right side only on all 3 of the cars down on pit road. That's telling me, hey, they didn't like the feel of their tires. Said, you know what, we got tires sitting behind us in piles. Might as well slap on a new right side here and see if we can get the handling a little bit better on those race cars.
Kelly, we saw these drivers come down now. How many sets of tires, as you're the professional here, how many sets of tires do we have for tonight?
There is no tire limit, so they can pit as many times as they want. The big limiting factor, though, is that 50% fuel window that Brett has alluded to. And like you said, the pit window that they gave us, about 75, 80 laps. So it is going to be multiple stops throughout the night here, and I'd expect right sides every time. And with a race this long, maybe even lefts at some point. But that is a big risk to take. It could put you a lap down, as we've already seen one driver drop a lap down because of the pit stop, and that was Brian Troyer.
All these drivers on the front straightaway going now here inside, outside. As they approach the start-finish line here in the league, you are able to choose inside, outside, and that's what they are doing currently here. Everybody now working themselves underneath Barney the flagman, so the field is now set and ready. It'll be McDuff to the inside with Hacker to the outside, Then it's going to be Hantoon and Austin. That's the first 4 cars as we get ready here. We'll go one more time around to make sure the field is 100% set as we get ready to go back racing.
The driver that is already getting himself into that conversation is Brandon Elvis. He took the EOL for winning last week, and he's now found himself in 6th place already here. So that EOL penalty not serving as much of a penalty here for the 54 of Brandon Elvis. He's already got himself into contention here for the race lead if he can get a good restart and find that bottom lane.
Well, we'll see here. You got to remember tires starting back in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th position, and so on here. One driver still down on pit road. That's the 93. We'll see if Chad can get back out onto the speedway. Pace truck is off the racing surface, so that means we're coming back to the green flag here tonight at Myrtle Beach. And championship night, once again, is back under the green flag conditions.
Justin McDuff getting a great launch, and that is actually going to allow Bryan Hacker to jump down in front of the 12 of Huntoon. Huntoon, though, having to fight side by side with the 5 of Scott Austin. Austin gets a great run out of the exit of turn 2, but not enough to clear the 12 of Huntoon. Now side by side once again through 3 and 4, and now Brandon Elvis getting himself involved in the mix. Looks like that outside lane rolling pretty well here on this initial start.
Yeah, it looks like these drivers got it cleaned up, and it is racy right now for Myrtle Beach. It is McDuff, it's Hacker, it's Austin, and then it's the battle with Elvis and Hantoon. Hantoon on the bottom side with the green machine, but Elvis is making the outside work here. That's going to be the question of how long is the outside going to work. That Corvette there for Elvis, though, a slip up through 1 and 2. That'll bring the number 12 of Rodney Hantoon even down into turn number 3. Oh, Austin with a little bit of a bobble that time, almost into the inside wall in 3. And that's going to stack that bottom lane back up, and it is still McDuff, Hacker, Austin. Elvis is still side by side with Hantoon. Right behind them is Shepard and Campbell, and here comes Jeff Bergner. Remember, Bergner was the driver that just went around, and he's back inside the top 10 just like that.
But a battle for the race lead here as Bryan Hacker gets to the inside of Justin McDuff. He is going to slide on through 3 and 4. Bryan Hacker takes control of the race lead. He is not content to just sit in 4th and take the guaranteed championship position. He wants the championship trophy and the race win trophy here from Myrtle Beach Speedway. He has got a long ways to go, over 150 laps still left to run here tonight in championship night, and there are 14 other cars behind him looking to take over that race lead as a number of these drivers are jockeying for position here down the back straightaway. Dylan Connor to the inside of Campbell going into turn 3.
So now these drivers are battling just behind Jeff Bergner. Bergner, remember, had gone for a spin. He's up 8 positions since the drop of the green flag, and now it looks like Connor's going to be able to take that spot just behind the number 21 of Bergner. Bergner 7th, Connor in the 8th spot. Campbell back to running in 9th. Sweeting rounds out the top 10 as we're back to side-by-side racing, as now Austin and Elvis are battling for that 3rd spot. Austin has it. Elvis wants it. We've seen both Austin and Elvis make passes on the outside. Here comes Elvis now working to the inside of the Austin Designs number 5 Pony machine. Corvette to the inside, Pony on the outside. Which one's going to have the call it the badge of, well, honor here?
And a bit of contact right behind them. It was the 12 and the 21 getting into each other through turns 4, but the 12 of Huntoon able to regain control of his car. Still has to regain momentum way back in the field. Meanwhile, Brandon Elvis still side by side with Scott Austin. Elvis, though, getting a better run on the inside, slowly inching his nose ahead. Looking to play spoiler here tonight is Brandon Elvis.
Shepard right behind them in the number 89 Zoo Fab entry. He is one of those drivers that did come down, and I do believe he was actually able to put 4 tires on, if I'm reading it correct. I could be reading it wrong here. It's been a while since I did one of these asphalt races. I'm not used to getting new tires on it. As you can see, though, Dustin Shepard with the tires able to drive right underneath the Austin Designs number 5 of Scott Austin. That'll bump Austin back to running 5th. Shepard now being scored into that 4th position. And here comes Jeff Bergner. He's like, well, Jaws right now. Cue the Jaws theme song.
Judging by the pit stop time, I believe Dustin Shepard only took right side tires, but it still has made a difference. He's the first driver on those fresh tires, and he has jumped past a number of drivers here on this latest green flag run. So that was even the early stop, because I mean it was only lap 13 when he came down pit road, so that has made such a huge difference. And I think the tire strategy is going to be what is the difference maker here tonight.
Kelly, you know what? When you're right, you're right. I can look at that and I see exactly what you're talking about. You think I'd know how to, after all these years, read that timing and scoring, but sometimes I can't read it. From Pennsylvania. It's kind of inherited.
Field is practically single filed out right now, so it looks like we're just going to get set for some long running here as these drivers mainly trying to focus on saving that right front tire here tonight. And that is going to be the big deal here tonight. It is going to be the long green flag runs. We've seen a few times this season this league can go flag to flag for the race. We have already had our first caution here tonight, but Brandon Elvis not content to just sit around now. He's going to jump to the inside of Justin McDuff into turn 3, and they're going to be side by side coming off of turn 4 down the front straight.
It's going to be a dead drag race, and also Bergner looking to the inside on the number 5 of Scott Austin as we watch Elvis make the pass on McDuff. That opens the door. Here comes Dustin Shepard. He's bringing the Zoo Fab garage entry right underneath, so that'll put now McDuff and Austin to the outside lane, and we haven't seen anybody make the outside lane work since, 5 laps into this restart here. So the outside lane definitely starting to fade now, as now you see almost a little contact there from Bergner to McDuff. They were able to keep it out of each other for the time being, but there's going to be side-by-side again through 3 and 4. Bergner keeping it nice and tidy down on the bottom side of the speedway. Can he complete the pass, though? Austin's back there running now into the 6th position, just outside the top 5.
Well, we definitely know for sure now that there is no damage to that 21 machine of Bergner as he is flying out there on the racetrack, moving himself into 4th place as he gets by Justin McDuff. And it also seems like he didn't damage the tires there going for that spin. So still some pace in the 21 machine. We cannot count Jeff Bergner out of this race just yet, even though he was involved in that early accident. Now, he had a good run down the back straightaway. He's actually closing in on Dustin Shepard, who, as we mentioned, had some fresh tires. And actually, now I'm looking at time and scoring, Jeff Bergner did come down and take some right sides as well. So he is flying on those fresh tires. And we're seeing now a few of these drivers starting to fall back as these tires start to burn off.
Kelly, you stole my thunder again. I was looking over at the timing and scoring, and after I couldn't read it before, I read it this time, and I was ready for you, and you stole my thunder. But yes, the tires are making a difference. Here comes Bergner to the inside in turns 1 and 2, trying to get to the inside of Dustin Shepard. They will be side by side as they exit, and down the back straightaway they go. So now Bergner trying to get himself onto the podium. Hacker still out front here tonight at Myrtle Beach with Elvis. And then it's the Bergner and Shepard battle here with McDuff just behind them. Austin, Connor, Campbell, Sweeting, and Gable rounds out the top 10. 2 drivers off the speedway. Dan in car 02 off the speedway. He's down on pit road, and so is the 93. Chad McLeod.
Brandon Elvis is running slightly faster than Bryan Hacker these last few laps. It's only by a few hundredths of a second, but he is slowly chipping away at that lead. However, that lead still sits at a fairly comfortable 0.6 of a second for Bryan Hacker, but each lap it does go down just a little bit, so maybe Elvis has saved his stuff just a little bit better. And as I say that, he now just suddenly lost a lot of ground according to that interval.
Yeah, I was going to say Hacker, I'm not sure on Elvis's background of short track racing, but Kelly, you and I have, seen Bryan Hacker up and down and all around the ranks, from short tracks to dirt tracks to a little bit of NASCAR stuff, and definitely here in that short track asphalt program. He is one of the veterans, and you got to question and ask yourself, with him being a veteran and being behind the wheel so much, is he playing the mind games right now with Brandon Elvis of, I'll let you catch me a little bit here, save my stuff, and still make you think that I'm running flat out? Kind of what I heard over the weekend with NASCAR. Is it the SVG effect?
I mean, Hacker is known by these guys to be a tough driver and one to beat week in and week out, and especially when he's at a track like Myrtle Beach, one that he says is one of his favorites. As he is going to be quick here. And now Brandon Elvis not only having to focus on Bryan Hacker in front of him, he's got to keep an eye on that rear view mirror. Jeff Bergner was running a few quick laps, though maybe just had a bobble on that last lap, lost a lot of the ground that he had just built up, and lost about 1/10 according to that last lap. Meanwhile, Brandon Elvis actually did take a good chunk out of Hacker.
As they battle Just outside the top 5, though. Austin continuing to lose spots here. Remember, he's battling Bryan Hacker for that points championship. Oh, contact! Oh. Contact from the 5 and the 20 and around. Gonna go the Moosehead Logger, number 20 of Justin McDuff.
Yeah, the 20 of McDuff going to go around, and it was off the nose of one of our championship contenders. That may send one of those guys to the back of the field, and is going to bring out the mad plowing yellow flag once again here, as Bryan Hacker now going to have to make the tough decision of, does he come down pit road for the first time? And yes, he will.
As we take a look back here, as these guys come down pit road, you saw the 90 of Connor into the back of the 20, and then Austin getting wrapped up in this. The Moose is loose, number 20. The gel definitely got loosened on that car.
Another big thing, though, is that's going to give incident points to both of those drivers, meaning they are going to lose out on 2 bonus points right there. And I don't have the ability right now to... Oh, actually, no, I'm going to take a look. And yeah, Austin has actually lost 4 incident points off of that. Same with Dylan Connor. And I believe that means they would only get 1 bonus point for the clean racing at this point, while meanwhile Bryan Hacker is currently holding on to the full 5.
Race off pit road. It'll be the 2 of Hacker. Getting out first with Shepard and Connor side by side. Shepard will take the spot. Then it's Connor, Austin, Sweeting, Gable, Elvis, Bergner. How they all funnel off of pit road. One driver staying out, but it looks like he will make his way to pit road. That is the Moose's loose, number 20 of Justin McDuff. He'll come down and take his service here. Looks like right side tires going on and fuel for the Moose's loose, number 20.
Yeah, most drivers electing to take just right sides. A few, though, towards the back have taken both rights and lefts. So it could be maybe they only stop for the lefts on every other stop. Maybe they just want to take the lefts once and then run them for the rest of the night. But that right front is the key tire here tonight.
So yeah, that his first car did take 4 was Brandon Elvis. So interesting call by that, because with a tight setup, I don't know about taking 4, boys.
I was going to ask that, Brett, if you were watching to see if anybody took 4. If you just said you don't know if that's the thing to do here, the strategy to pick. But, Brett, put the driver helmet on. We still have a lot of racing left here. 4 tires, maybe take them now. You get another caution later. You're still going to have to pit under green flag if we go the rest of the way. Maybe fuel and rights next time?
Oh, for sure the call, if it ever, is on a green flag, just because the time it takes to put 1 can in. That's all you got to do, about 10 seconds there. That's enough time for one side to go up, where for 4 tires, it's 20-plus seconds, so that's a lot of time to make up.
Well, we're seeing the late runs if that one stretches out here. Ready to go back racing here at Myrtle Beach. The choose has just been done, so let's take a look here. It's going to be Scott Austin to the inside with Bryan Hacker. I'm sure that was team orders there between the 2 drivers. I'm sure Austin's going to let Hacker down. Then the second row is going to be the 54 of Elvis, and then Shepard to the outside of him. And I believe that is that the 33 of Campbell and Gable to the outside. Green flag, and Austin actually spins the tires on the restart.
I don't know if he either spun the tires or just did not see the 2 of Hacker jumping to that start there, but he was left in the dust, and it almost sent him around as he got rear-ended on that initial start, but he is going to keep it in 3rd place. He loses ground to Dustin Shepard, who was able to get a good jump on the outside, quickly get around him. Somehow, though, every car was able to keep themselves pointed in the right direction. We're going to stay green here, but it quickly shook up the field, and almost everyone is down single file already.
Yeah, it definitely shook up the field there, and I'm noticing one driver coming back out here after pit road. That is the number 21 of Jeff Bergner, who came in 3rd. He exited the pits back in 8th. He was one of the drivers, though, that did get 4 tires on his number 21 machine, so look for him to try and come through the field. The on-time number 21 of Gable just got around the number 33 of Campbell, so put Campbell back to 6th. Now Gable, for the first time, inside the top 5.
Dustin Shepard just put down the fastest lap of the race there with the 19.344, and that has forced Bryan Hacker to step it up a little. He put down his fastest lap on this previous lap. Looks like Shepard is pushing hard, trying to close up that gap there to Hacker, but Hacker trying to play the pace here, trying to make sure he doesn't burn his stuff up too early in case we go for a long green flag run, but still wants to keep himself ahead of that 89 car, does not want to get himself in a battle, but Shepard is closing up lap after lap.
Kelly, if you're the driver of that number 2, you see Shepard getting closer, you see Austin coming back into the picture with Elvis. You know your 2 championship competitors now at this point have been wrapped up into a wreck. They cannot get the clean bonus race points factor in here. Do you think maybe you back it down and give Dustin Shepard the position if he gets to you?
I think at this point, you might as well, and save that race car towards the end. I mean, we saw that long run there the last time. Bryan Hacker and Elvis out there, the best pace by far, even on those old tires. So the 2 car definitely has a long run pace and doesn't have to burn up his stuff at this point, this early in the race.
Side-by-side battle back there for third. Here comes Elvis to the inside of Austin. See if he can make it happen here. Corvette on the pony. Looks like the 54 will be able to complete that pass on the exit of turn number 2. So it's Hacker, Shepard, Elvis, Austin, and Gable here as 57. It'll be 58 this time out of turn number 4. Completed tonight in championship night.
And if I was Bryan Hacker, if Shepard does get up alongside me, just quickly let him go, get back into the preferred line, because not only do you want to not be in that battle, because it would not only close up the 54 and the 5 to your tail end, it would also really burn your tires. They're having to just push to try to keep that position. And if you want to just play the long run game, which Hacker normally does, he definitely would just let Shepard by. But as these laps kind of tick on here, it looks like Shepard may have pushed a little too hard too early, because Hacker's starting to get a little bit ahead of him. But as I say that, Shepard had a fantastic run through 3 and 4 there and almost started to take a look to the inside of Hacker.
It's going to be a cat and mouse game at the front of the field. One driver trying to come back through the field, and that is the Moose's Loose number 20 of McDuff. He'll now get to the inside of Campbell, and Campbell having some handling issues on the quick trip number 33. That was a quick trip into the outside wall there for Campbell. Looks like that car now off the pace in 3 and 4. It looks like he'll be able to funnel back in front of Brian Troyer. Troyer in car number 36, back there into the 13th position. Been a quiet night for him. He's just trying to be like Biff and get through it.
Brandon Elvis looking like he's got some pace here tonight. He has been quick all throughout the night. Started at the tail end of this field from the EOL. He's up into 3rd, and now he's putting some pressure on to Dustin Shepard. We thought Shepard was going to be a threat for Hacker, but now he is under threat from that black 54 of Brandon Elvis. As Elvis, good run off of turn 4. He's right up to the bumper of Shepard. Now he's going to dive to the inside into turn 1. It's going to be side by side, and no, Shepard is just going to let him go. Did not quite get there. I don't know if he was trying to maybe cross him up on the exit, but that did not work. He is now behind that 54 car of Elvis, and Elvis now has his sights set on Hacker.
I know what it is with that 54. I watched a documentary one time, Kelly, and any car that has a red roll bar and dash in it, I'm told those are the cheated up cars. So that 54 definitely quick here tonight. Question is, now he's got to go around the top dog, and that's Bryan Hacker out front. So it's Hacker and Elvis 1 and 2, Shepard and Austin back in 3 and 4. We are officially 65 laps tonight in the books here for championship night. Your 3 championship hopefuls coming in. 2 of them have already gotten a couple incident points. That's Scott Austin and Dylan Connor. Austin is running into that 4th spot, while Connor is back now running into the 9th position. There you see him just behind Rodney Hontoon. So actually he is now back into the 10th position in car number 90. Those are the 3 championship drivers that we talked about. Hacker being the top spot right now. The other 2 lost the clean race bonus already.
And I believe they still are able to get 1 bonus point, but still every point matters here tonight. I mean, we saw a couple years ago that it went to a tiebreaker here, so the bonus points can play a huge factor. And right now, with how the points sit, if I'm correct, because of that disparity, the difference in the clean race bonus, Bryan Hacker only needs to finish in 8th place. And with how he has been running this season, that is a tough ask.
Is that Canadian math? because my Pennsylvania stateside here, too much.
That is me trying to do my best.
Well, right now the best for Rodney Hontoon is underneath the 20 of Justin McDuff, so McDuff's car still not 100% back to handling. Right as you can see, the splitter still tore up and the fender's a little crinkled up. As there goes the 90 of Dylan Connor. He'll take that spot. Now put Connor back into the 9th spot. McDuff back to running in 20th. Looking at it, 12 cars out there currently on the speedway here tonight.
Yeah, I said it was tough for Bryan Hacker to finish further back in the field. Taking a quick look at the stats, he's had an average finishing position of 3.4 out of 9 races. He's been in the top 5 8 times. And the one time that he didn't finish in the top 5, he was still in the top 10. So hoping for Bryan Hacker to have a rough night is really tough to ask for. You kind of have to make your own luck here, try to just get past him, and it's I don't know what I would do as Scott Austin. I mean, it's a difficult ask here. You're looking at a steep climb that seems nearly impossible at this rate.
Closing in here on the halfway point home. About 10 laps or so away from halfway. Brett, we're going to throw it over to you here real quick as the battle for the race lead starts to heat up again. We've been running here for quite a while. 46 laps on some of these tires. Green flag pit stop's about 30 laps away. Can't quite make it. When do you think we see somebody dive to pit road?
I think for pits, especially under the green flag condition here, boys, is pit as late as you can. You know, you don't want to get caught out multiple laps down by pitting under green flag. You're going to try and run this tank as empty as you can to make sure that if we do get a caution, that you're pitting under the caution flag versus under the green flag here.
Well, Kelly, you talked about us. We've seen it before here with the series going long green flag runs. What do you think? Do you think this is shaping up to be that long green flag run to the end on championship night?
To the end, maybe not. I mean, these drivers are usually pretty clean and tidy with their racing. We have only a handful of cautions throughout the entire season, so it's definitely possible that we could go all the way to the end. But I mean, with how long of a race this is, I mean, anything can happen. It just takes one driver making a little mistake trying to make a pass, or one driver getting a little too close to those turtle shells on the entry into one. But it's definitely a good possibility. We could go right to the end.
Connor picking up another one there. He'll bump Hontoon back to the 9th position, so put Connor back into the 8th spot, trying to work his way back forward. Bryan Hacker still out front here. Scott Austin's running 4th. And you just heard me say Dylan Connor back there running into the 8th position. This one started to stretch themselves out. These drivers really just trying to lay down some laps. There you do see Scott Austin closing in on the back of Dustin Shepard. That would be the battle for the 3rd position here. That is the closest machines on the speedway. There he goes. Now Austin trying to work that inside, and it looks like he will be able to pick up 3rd. Scott Austin now P3. Dustin Shepard back to 4th.
Yeah, it looks like Shepard was just a little tight coming off that corner, and that gave that opportunity for Austin to slip through very easily. But you're going to have to keep an eye towards the front of this field here, as that is only about a quarter-second gap between Hacker and Elvis. Elvis is looking for his opportunity, and he has been closing in over these last few laps, but Hacker kind of going back and forth between opening the gap and letting it kind of close up. So he's just trying to keep that pace, trying to keep the life in that right front tire. Yeah, as we mentioned, these drivers can go maybe up to 80 laps here on the fuel.
Yeah, so maybe just over halfway on that fuel run. Just taking a look, though, Kelly, I'm starting to notice a little bit of that slower traffic out in front of the race leader. Brian Troyer, you can see him there. He's at the start-finish line. Now Hacker's at the start-finish line. So that's going to become a factor here in just a couple of moments. See if Elvis can take advantage of Hacker if he can't get around the lap traffic, and then he can pounce. We are about to find that out. Once again, it's Hacker out front with Elvis right there until the red machine is Hacker. Elvis is the black 54, and it does not look like Hacker's going to have much trouble getting around the number 36 of Brian Troyer. Troyer will go right to the outside. He will pull over. That's kind of the gentleman's rule.
Yeah, we did have a lap car get into Hacker last week, if I remember correctly. So drivers or these lap drivers trying to stay out of the way, not wanting to recreate what happened last week, especially here on championship night, because that could be the difference maker between Hacker winning the championship and losing it. Because right now that seems like it could be the only thing that could stop the number 2 machine, because he has been running off with this race, already leading a good chunk of laps and probably getting close to getting that most laps led bonus point as well.
Battle towards the mid-pack. That's Robbie in the 73. Yes, 73. Read it correct. Robbie's in the 73 to the outside. That is Rodney Hontoon down to the bottom side of the speedway. So that's the battle for the 8th and 9th position currently here. Hontoon has dropped from where he started tonight. Remember, he started on the pole. He's back there just trying to hang on to a top 10 here. Right at the midway portion of this one, just trying to see what he's got. No, boy, right there, Robbie got tight, and then it got loose, and he's going to lose 1, 2. He's going to fall back into the 11th spot.
I think he may have also gotten tagged a little bit by Rodney Hontoon. I think Hontoon got a little tight there and just kind of clipped the front of that 73 machine. Now I'm actually looking at it. I think there is some damage to the right front of Robbie Clavey. That did not come from that last little touch, since that touch was to his left front. So that 73 machine, I think, found the wall at some point.
Yeah, we can see that as we get the camera guy. Great shot there. He zooms right in as it comes by the starter stand. There's definitely, kind of looks like your head there, Kelly. It's about the same shape and size.
I mean, that would be a huge dent if it was. It might be.
90 laps this time going on the board. Bryan Hacker still continuing to lead the way here at Myrtle Beach. It's Hacker, Elvis, Austin, Shepard, Bergner has worked himself. Remember, he was the first caution flag of the evening as he got help down in turns 1 and 2. He spun it around, kept it going. Now the 21 of Bergner running 5th, up 10 spots. The highest running spot for Bergner here tonight has been 3rd. He dropped back down to 8th, now running 5th here with another chance at a pit cycle coming up here in just a little while. And it'll be Gable running back there into the 6th spot. Dylan Connor back into the 7th. And then it's Hontoon in 8th, McDuff and Sweeting. Right there you see them come by the camera. They are running 9th and 10th on the track.
Yeah, another thing to note with Jeff Bergner is he did not put down a qualifying time. He started this race all the way to the back of the field. The only driver that started behind him was Brandon Elvis. So he has been our biggest mover here tonight, up 10 spots out on the speedway. And I believe most of those came the hard way. He didn't gain too many from the choose cone. He has been passing drivers here, especially when he had made that early tire call. So the 21 machine having a good night here.
Here's a fun fact of the day for you, Kelly. The 21 of Jeff Bergner out of Utah, actually. I used to run with Bergner many, many moons ago. I know it's hard to believe for a lot of the people out there listening. They're like, Roger, you've never turned a lap in your life. We've only ever seen you behind the microphone. That's very true, race fans, about being behind the microphone. But Jeff Bergner, as I was looking at Hontoon's number here, Bergner actually taught me a lot. He used to make me go to practice races all the time, and he used to force me to start at the back of the field with them and try and drive through everybody. So it's a kind of something that or at least I have, seen from Bergner throughout his career.
And we might see it again here as he's closed up on the back end of Dustin Shepard in that 89 car. Bergner right on top of him in that chrome machine. Hard car to miss here out on the racetrack as he shines under the lights, going to the inside, coming off of turn 2, taking a look to the inside of Shepard. Shepard going to be forced to take the high line through 3 and 4. Shepard going up there into the gray where there is a little bit less grip and maybe even some marbles forming out there, and that is going to slow him immensely down the front straightaway and move Jeff Bergner up into 4th.
So Bergner now in 4th, Shepard back to running in 5th, then it's Connor Gable, one driver down on pit road, Robbie Clavey. He will actually come back out onto the speedway. He's being scored in the 11th position. Yeah, right there inside the pit window. Brett, do you think anybody's going to come soon still, or do you think they're all going to run them bone dry?
Yeah, I think if you're anywhere inside this top 10 here tonight, I think you're running this thing as long as it can go, as long as you still got some turn in that race car. Let's say that car's still rotating. A little bit of damage report here from the 89 team. Dustin Shepard, we saw kind of him walk wide off of turn number 4. Scott Austin got around. That was actually Shepard getting into that inside wall. So that car not turning the way it is, at least a tenth, if not more, off the pace of what he was kind of running before that wall hit there.
One driver is going to roll the dice, though, early and come to pit road. That'll be the Elvis, number 54. He'll come from second, so he'll have to see if he can make up the ground. Now the question being, does anybody else take the bait and come to pit road, or do they go ahead and keep running? Looking at lap times, we are about, call it a half a second, I think it is, Kelly, off what the best time for some of these drivers are.
These drivers trying to figure out when they want to come down pit road, and here comes Dustin Shepard. So that's when he's decided it's the best time, and it's now as he comes ripping into the pit road. As these drivers trying to really maximize all the speed on entry, maybe playing a dangerous game with the pit speed limit. But Shepard and Gable, and now here comes Scott Austin as well. So their first few drivers has provoked a response from a few of these other guys.
An interesting strategy here, Con. We'll have to see if it plays out. So right now, Hacker still continuing to turn laps out there. See when the Austin Designs number 2 decides it is time to come down. Now you got to think, some of these drivers have come to pit road. They got fresh tires. Are they going to be so much faster than some of these drivers that are staying out here? Is it going to become a little hectic, a little Tetris, if you will? As you see the Austin Designs car done, right side's on, fuel is in. The Austin Designs number 5 will come back out onto the speedway. Rodney Hontoon is now in his Austin Designs number 12 entry. So he's taken some service. Looks like I'm seeing the top 5 drivers have yet to come to pit road.
Bergener, Connor, Sweeting, and McDuff electing to stay out there, keep the car rolling for a little bit, try to see if they can make this overcut work and have fresher tires towards the latter half of this run. It is possible. It is going to be the final stop of the night unless we were to get a caution. It is definitely going to be the only green flag stop of the night, as these drivers should be able to make it all the way to the finish from here. So it is a big strategy call. Is it gonna pay off for these guys that are trying to pull off the undercut? I mean, we saw Scott Austin actually able to jump past Brandon Elvis through the pit stop here, as Elvis was actually stopped for another 3 seconds over Austin.
Now probably just making, here it is, Hacker now coming to pit road. He has ran enough laps. He's seen the difference. He's heard from his crew that how fast the number 5 and the 54 are on the new tires. They are a half a second a lap faster, so we're going to wait to see where Hacker funnels back out as you see him slowly creeping down pit road. 35 to 40 miles an hour as the Austin Designs number 2 will hit his pit stall there. Where is the Scott Austin entry? Let's see, he is out of turn number 2, so Hacker has a little bit of time. 8 seconds, 9 seconds for Hacker, 10 seconds, 11, 12, and now he is down, he is out, and he will come back out onto the raceway. It looks like he will be able to stay ahead of the number 5 of Scott Austin and Elvis.
Bryan Hacker going to continue to hold on to the race lead, as one of his championship rivals is going to be just 1 spot behind him, but it is not going to be enough for Scott Austin to just beat Bryan Hacker. He has to beat him and hope for Hacker to kind of fall apart towards the late ends of this race. Still 3 cars left out on the speedway that have not come down to pit. Dylan Connor in the pits now for his stop. Bergener, Sweeting, and McDuff all electing to stay out. Bergener holding on to the race lead for now, as just McDuff is actually getting passed by Bryan Hacker. Not for position, as Hacker has still scored a lap down compared to McDuff, but he is going to get through on those fresh tires.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting is the next car out in front of Bryan Hacker. That's not a battle for position either. That will be Sweeting, who's being scored 1 lap ahead of Hacker and sitting into the 2nd position. So Jeff Bergener right now in the middle of the pit cycle is your race leader, and he will come to pit road this time off turn number 4. So now Jeff Bergener in the all-chrome number 21 making his final, well, we hope to be his final stop of the evening.
And I'll have to keep an eye on Hacker here as he goes by, not only just to get his lap back here, Now we'll see how far ahead he'll be of Bergener as he comes around through 3 and 4 this time. Bergener stopped in his box now, waiting to see, and here comes that bright red machine as Bergener gets out of his pit stall. Hacker going to blow on by. He's going to be well clear of Bergener. So it is going to be Bryan Hacker leading over Scott Austin effectively, as we are still waiting on Sweeting and McDuff to pit, as Sweeting is currently scored as our race leader for the time being.
Yeah, and I was looking at that. Jeff Bergener actually had the fastest pit time so far of any of the drivers that have come to pit road. It was 10.38 in his box, 41.58 the entirety of pit road. Here comes Justin McDuff. He'll pull in from the 2nd position to make what's probably his final stop of the evening, but Bergener having a really good pit cycle, if you will, and it was still not good enough to leapfrog the number 2 of Bryan Hacker.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting still staying out there, so I think Sweeting is just hoping for a caution to fall for him and trap the rest of the field a lap down. However, it would not trap Hacker a lap down right now, as Hacker was able to get his lap back the hard way. Still effectively 18 seconds behind the race lead as Sweeting continues to cycle this racetrack. And he's got to wonder, how far is he electing to go? Is he just going to run this thing dry?
Well, last time he was down on pit road, that was lap number 48, so has a couple laps he can go here. See, hopefully for him, what he's trying to think is maybe the caution flag will come out that'll trap everybody but the 2 of Hacker a lap down. That'll put him on even playing field then with Hacker, as at that point they would both come to pit road. Everybody else would have to take the wave around, and then they'd be on those older tires.
Yeah, it would give him the advantage of having fresher tires towards the end of this race, but we've seen how much of a pace difference there is here on the fresh tires for the undercut, as Bryan Hacker right now is running 0.3 of a second faster than Sweeting every single lap. So Sweeting will be dropping way back from Hacker here when the stop is first finished, but towards the end of this race, if Sweeting can make those tires last, he could have some decent pace towards the end. So we'll see if his strategy is going to be able to pay off.
Brett, what do you think? Do you want newer tires now or newer tires at the end of the race? Do you want to be on what's considered kill mode, or do you want to be a little conservative at the end of it?
I mean, if you're coming down when Sweeting comes down here, I mean, you do want to save them a little bit. They aren't going to last forever. They are going to burn off and eventually kind of equalize a little bit. So you do want to make them last, but at the same time, you've got to make the most of the fresher tires while you have got them. So Sweeting is in a tough spot, and I think the only thing that could save him right now is if we have a sudden caution coming out. Meanwhile, right behind him, Scott Austin, Brandon Elvis battling for position. This is right as they score it now would be a battle for 3rd place, as Elvis is looking for any sort of way around the 5 of Austin.
He'll have a great run here off turn number 4. He'll be able to get to the quarter panel. He'll pull even. And the Chestnut Hill, number 54, looking. Look at that drag race. A good exit, though. A little kiss to the outside wall for the number 5 of Scott Austin. But he is still going to hang tough out there. Let's see, it's a long way around turn 3 and 4, but Austin maybe found a little bit of something out there. But here comes that 54. I told you, it's the red roll bars and the red interior.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of contact off of turn 2, and it is going to be Brandon Elvis sneaking ahead of Austin. Austin going to try to cross him up a little bit coming off of turn 4. Nothing for him there. He is not going to make the dive into turn 1, and I think he was trying to see if he could send Elvis up the racetrack just with a little bit of mind games, but Elvis able to keep it nice and tidy down there. While this happened, just behind them, another battle for position shaped up. Jeff Bergener was able to get past Dustin Shepard, so Bergener is now back up into the top 5. Could be top 4 once Chuck Sweeting has come down to pit.
Yeah, I was going to say, still one driver out there with 50 laps remaining here tonight on championship night. And that is Chuck Sweeting. He's in it for the long haul at this point, as you see the 54 trying to unlap himself. He'll give him the inside lane. He'll give Austin the inside lane also. Have to be careful, though, for how far you go up if you're that 75. There are still a lot of marbles on the top side of the speedway here. This is an older racing surface, and those marbles, they do gather to the outside. Kelly, I don't know, have you ever stepped on a bunch of marbles?
I mean, not tire marbles, but I have stepped on glass marbles. And
Yeah, the old glass ones.
From what I have heard, it is a very similar feeling for the tires here once they, if they get up into those rubber chunks there that are sitting outside of 3 and really all of the turns here at this point. It has been a long green flag run, no chance for the sweeper to come out. So it is starting to build up, not just outside of the run. Oh, Chuck Sweeting now. He's going to come down pit road finally.
There you see the 75 making his final stop with under 50 laps remaining here tonight. As the 75 will turn it over eventually. Half a track lead still. That's how big of a lead Sweeting had over Bryan Hacker. Hacker through 3 and 4. He did get around the number 36 there of Brian Troyer to put him another lap down. Hacker back to the point here on lap 129 here on championship night.
That means Bryan Hacker now has a 3.4 second lead over Brandon Elvis. And before this pit cycle started, what feels like an eternity ago, Elvis was practically on top of the bumper of Bryan Hacker. So his call to come down about 8 laps later and having a bit of a faster stop has helped him out, as Elvis and Scott Austin are still battling side by side for what is now second place.
The 5 of Austin down to the inside, and almost a little contact there as we go from the blimp overhead, watching the great battle for a second here. 54 of Elvis to the outside, Austin to the inside. As Kelly said, that's the battle for second. Looks like Austin will slip a little bit off turn number 2, and he'll give the spot back to Brandon Elvis. So the rookie in car 54 holding off one of those veterans in car number 5, Jeff Bergner. I'm looking at it a little bit quicker back there a lap ago, and he's quicker again than both these two running second and third.
Yeah, Brandon Elvis holding on to second place for now. It is going to be a tough ask to chase down Bryan Hacker. I mean, even as he fought with Scott Austin, he was able to put down some fairly quick lap times, but it is a 3.5 second lead, as Hacker now actually added nearly 1/10 of a second to that lead on this last lap. Our closest gap is actually what you see right now, Elvis over Scott Austin by only 0.3 of a second. Everyone else has been fairly spread out from these green flag stops.
Yeah, Bergner still closing in on Austin, but not there yet to make a difference. There you see from Bergner, out in front of him, there's Austin and Elvis, and then that is the lap car of Troyer, who is running currently into the 12th position. 2 laps down to the race leader, which is Bryan Hacker still. 3 cars out of tonight's event. That is the number 33 Camel. That's the 02 of Dan. Is that Jan?
Jannon.
Yeah, Jan. We'll call him Jay. Sure.
No, it's Dan Jannon.
Sure, what you said. And the 93 of Chad is also out of tonight's event, unfortunately, here.
Yeah, still 10 cars on the lead lap. Chuck Sweeting, the last of those 10 cars, slotted himself back there with a going very long on his stop. But one thing that I've noticed, though, looking at the pit times, is he had a very quick stop, pretty much a splash and dash here. Is I think he just had less fuel that he needed to throw in that car because of how long he went. So that is going to help him a little bit, help to make up that gap that he has. And he's currently trying to chase down the 20 of Justin McDuff.
And that is something Brett alluded to earlier, wanting to spend the least amount of time on pit road. And that's exactly what Chuck Sweeting did in his pit stall anyway. Remember, Jeff Bergner also spending only 41.58 seconds down pit road from cone to cone, I'm talking. That's including your pit stop. Chuck Sweeting actually beating that by just 1/10, or actually, yeah, 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second, sorry. Faster, but still. Buried back into the field. We'll see if it plays out, because there is the race leader. As he went off into 1, here comes Hacker now off into turn number 1 on lap number 4, 141.
Yeah, laps ticking away here for Bryan Hacker, not only sitting in a good spot to win this race, but also to win the championship. Something would have to go disastrously wrong for Bryan Hacker. Now he has been in control of this race from a very early on. and he has just been rolling off. Was already a tough ask coming into the night for Scott Austin and Dylan Connor to be able to make up the points deficit to Hacker, but it just really played out well for Bryan Hacker for this last race of the season to be at a track that he loves so much and he is very good at here at Myrtle Beach, and he has been running consistently quick laps. But thing to note, he is not actually the fastest car out on the racetrack. That's still Dustin Shepard putting down a 19.344 earlier on after a lot of these drivers had pit under caution.
Yeah, right now, though, I'm taking a look at the last lap times here for some of these drivers. They're all starting to funnel back across the line. Bryan Hacker with a 19.6 second lap. He is your fastest driver out onto the speedway. Scott Austin is your second fastest driver. And then it is actually Jeff Bergner. That's how they all come across here. So we'll see if they can keep the pace up. Hacker still holding Elvis at right around the 3.3 second mark. Austin starting to put the pressure back on the Elvis number 54. It would still be the battle for the second position here as they close in on the back of the number 73. Robbie looking to give the inside lane to your race leaders, as it looks like the 54 maybe slipped up on entry there. Maybe those tires are starting to go away. That's what brought Scott Austin back into the picture frame.
A driver that is wanting to see this battle start to take shape is that 21 of Jeff Bergner. He's got about 1.3 seconds that he's got to make up to Scott Austin. So he wants to see Austin and Elvis battle it out, slow themselves up, burn up their tires, and maybe give him an opportunity to get himself onto the podium here, as Elvis is going to have to roll the high line as Austin gets down to the bottom, gets his nose to the inside, has to let up a little bit on the throttle coming off of turn 4 to keep himself off the door of the 54, but Elvis not able to get a good enough run down the front straightaway to take the spot back from Austin. Austin, good run through 1 and 2. He's now going to be even up with the 54 going into 3 and 4.
Let's see off of turn 4 which one rolls a little bit better. The top just by a little bit for Elvis. They're running side by side back down into turns number 1 and 2. Stay away from the turtles for Scott Austin. The outside lane gets such a great momentum run on exit, but it is Scott Austin who's able to roll the center and get into the corner just a little bit better. And then the momentum at the line, though that time Scott Austin had command of that second position.
Yeah, Austin slowly starting to inch ahead, but Elvis not giving up just yet. He's still fighting back, has a good run off of turn 2, gets his nose ahead into 3. So Brandon Elvis effectively giving up on the chase for Bryan Hacker. He knows he is not going to catch him. He just has to battle for the best position he can get, and that is a second place as he fights with Scott Austin for it. Coming up even once again down the back straightaway, pretty much nose to nose through 3 and 4. Neither driver giving an inch, and Jeff Bergner slowly starting to close in a little bit more. Still about 1.3 seconds for him, though, so he hopes for these guys to keep fighting it out.
Even with these two drivers battling side by side for the second position, Bryan Hacker's only been able to pick up a 10th, maybe 0.2 of a second gap on these drivers. They're throwing haymakers at each other right now, and it is, well, just 23 laps to go here tonight before we crown a champion and wrap up and turn off the lights for this season here. But man, look at the outside lane for Elvis still continue to roll through 1 and 2. 3 and 4 seems to be a little bit better for the number 5 of Scott Austin, but 1 and 2 definitely better for the 54 of Brandon Elvis. Contact a little bit down there into the corner. Well, Robin's racing, and it's short track racing.
Yeah, they are leaning on each other through these corners. Not a single inch between them a couple of these times, and they have banged doors on a few occasions as they really fight it out. As once again, contact on the entry into turn 1. Scott Austin going to pull his nose ahead, lean on Elvis through turn 2. Elvis, though, not backing down. He's going to charge back on the outside, and this is a intense battle for second place. Neither one of these drivers wanted to give it up.
And it's still a 3.5 second deficit that time by at the line. from these two to Bryan Hacker, so they're not losing really any ground running side by side, making the contacts. As now you see the 54 once again get the good run through turns 1 and 2. Now let's see off of 3 and 4, a little bit of a door bang there from the 5 into the 54 of Elvis, but all is good as they run side by side again. Look at Austin get that nose ahead, but watch the momentum roll down the back straightaway from that top side of the speedway. Dead heat into 3.
And these guys have been swapping the position back and forth here each time at the line. That time, though, it is going to be Brandon Elvis by just a fraction of his nose. But this time through 1 and 2, Scott Austin getting a good run. But again, a good run on the outside for Elvis here as he's going to stay completely even up. Neither of these drivers are able to get any sort of ground on the other, but Jeff Bergener, he's closing in. He's now under a second to the back end of these two drivers. He can maybe make this a 3-car battle before the end of this race.
And now Scott Austin will take the spot away officially. He has it. It's Hacker out front, Austin in second, Elvis is third, Bergner still running into the 4th spot with Connor back there running in 5th. So your championship 3 drivers that came into the night with a chance. Hacker first, Austin second, Connor in 5th.
It has been all Bryan Hacker here tonight. He just has to cruise here for these last 15 laps as he catches up to Brian Troyer. Another one of these lap cars going to make quick work of the 36 machine here as he continues to cruise on towards both a race win and a championship victory here. 3.3 seconds separates Hacker from Austin, as he has effectively just run away with this race. That pit strategy ended up being the right call for him as it opened up a huge gap over the 54 of Elvis.
But you just said it there, Kelly. 3.3 seconds was the gap there when you said it from Hacker back to Austin. When Austin and Elvis started leaning on each other, it was a 3.3 second deficit. Hacker has backed down the pace at the front of the field. He was running right around the 19.7 7.0s, 7.0s to 7.3s. He's now running 19.8.3s around the speedway and higher. He's backed it down. He's saving a little bit, and I've seen it. Austin there broke down to 3 seconds. Now Hacker back up to 3.3. So it's kind of flux there between 3 and 3.3.
Well, Brandon Elvis now under fire from Jeff Bergener. Bergener has been able to close up the gap. I think Elvis burned up his tires fighting with Scott Austin here, and now he is going to be struggling to hold on to positions here over the last 11 laps of this race. Jeff Bergener looking to take away 3rd place, get himself up into the podium. Dylan Connor right there with him, trying to follow him through, try to just get a few more points here to close out the season, but Brandon Elvis not going to back down. He's going to take what's left of these tires, and he's going to get a little bit of contact from 21. Both those drivers are going to go up the racetrack a little bit, coming off of turn 2. Dylan Connor now just a little bit closer.
More contact down the middle of the back straightaway. Sparks flying here tonight as they had the double high fives last time by. It was 10 to go. This time 9 to go, and Bergner has almost the whole car ahead. And a little bit of a tail slap there, the number 54 as he went by. Now here comes Dylan Connor down the back straightaway. It looks like he'll give that spot up because the 54 into the back of the 21. Bergner sideways. He'll save it, and now he's against the inside wall.
Caution does not fly. Now it is going to come out, and we are going to get one last caution here just to shake things up a little bit, as we're only going to have a handful of laps left in this race, and the question is going to be, do you come down and take some tires?
I think you almost have to. Bryan Hacker not wanting to see that happen here. We'll wait on the replay here. Wait to see what our race leaders do here, because this will be such a big... I don't even know how to say it. Let's see. Hacker, he will dive to pit road. Austin's going to come. So is Elvis. Let's see. Connor is going to come to pit road. So your top drivers all coming to pit road for service here. It's going to be 2 tires. You can't waste time taking 4.
No, it absolutely has to be 2 tires, and that is going to likely be the call for all of these drivers. And what's going to be interesting here is, since I believe Brandon Elvis has claimed that caution, he'll drop to the back of the field. And that means all three of our championship contenders are going to be right there together with under 5 laps to go here in this race. Bryan Hacker led the field down into the pit road, and he was the first to get into his box. Who is going to win this race off of pit road? It is going to be Bryan Hacker by a comfortable margin, and then it'll be Scott Austin right behind him.
So it'll be Hacker, Austin, and then Connor. 1, 2, and 3. I said it earlier, Kelly. You couldn't have wrote this any better if you were a Hollywood producer. But what do you say? Let's cue the replay here. Let's watch what happened with Bergner and Elvis. There you see the 54 down to the turn 3, right into the left rear quarter panel. Bergner comes to a stop right against the inside wall.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is going to be the end of Jeff Bergner's night. He has pulled it behind the wall, and that is really unfortunate. He was a strong contender all throughout the night, and I think he was going to get himself up into that top 3 and was going to be talking to us here at the end of this race, but now he is going to be done and finished with. But he is the reason that this race is going to be interesting here at the end as we come to the Mad Plowing Choose Cone. Bryan Hacker taking the inside, Scott Austin the outside, Dylan Connor to the inside. It is going to be 1, 2, 3 for our championship contenders, but it is not going to be enough for Austin and Connor just to beat Hacker. They have to hope for Hacker to make a mistake here on this last restart.
Oh boy, hold on to the popcorn, race fans, because this one, if you thought it was good so far, it's going to get even better. The iRacing.com safety vehicles off the racetrack. We're ready to go back racing. Green flag in the air. As a great start for Hacker. It'll be 3 laps to go at the line.
You're going to lead over Austin. Connor has to fight against Dustin Shepard going into turn 1. Shepard going to fall back into the 4th spot right in front of Rodney Huntoon. Just a few laps left here in this race. Scott Austin going to try to catch up to his teammate and Bryan Hacker, but at the same time, he has to keep an eye in that rear view. Dylan Connor is right on top of him as well.
How about this? A new fastest lap of the evening being set right here with just 2 laps to go by the number 90 of Dylan Connor. He is sitting back there into the 3rd spot. Kelly, bring us home as the white silk is flying here tonight.
White flag up in the air for Bryan Hacker, who has had a fantastic race and a fantastic season, finishing outside of the top 5 a single time. He is going to bring it around turns 3 and 4. One last time for Bryan Hacker. He is not only going to win tonight here at Championship Night, he is going to win the North-South Racing League late model stock season.
It'll be Hacker finishing first, Austin in 2nd, Connor in 3rd. Right how they came into the championship standings is right how they will go out here tonight. Shepard in the 4th position, Huntoon in 5th, Sweeting comes back to 6th, McDuff in 7th, Gable in the 8th position, Elvis and Clavey there in the 10th position. That's your unofficial rundown of the top 10 finishers. As you see, your number 2 driver, that is Bryan Hacker, the car number 2 driver anyway, as he'll pull to the front straightaway here. We're going to word in with him in just a few moments. We're going to word in with Austin and Connor. Also, Kelly, a great race here tonight at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, fantastic race here tonight. Really just controlled by Bryan Hacker. Came into tonight with control of the championship. Had to have a terrible night for the other drivers to have an opportunity, but that was not in the cards here. Hacker was just one of the most dominant forces on the racetrack from the moment the green flag dropped all the way until the checkers fell here. I mean, things got shaken up a little bit in the end by that late caution, but Hacker able to hold strong and able to take home both the win and the championship.
Well, we're taking a quick step away, race fans. Let's count up all the points, make sure it all equals out to uno, doses, and traces, and we'll be back here to Myrtle Beach to talk to the champion and the top 3 finishers right after this.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back here, race fans. We have it all tallied up for you, and I can officially tell you, you're gonna have to wait. That's right. We're gonna start with the third place finisher here. I believe, Kelly, you have the driver of car number 90 here standing by to talk to you here tonight after 175 laps of hard short track racing.
Yeah, catching up once again with Dylan Connor. And Dylan, it was looked to be a tough night out there for you. It looked like a lot of hard racing. I mean, what was it like from your perspective?
Oh yeah, it was a great race. Kind of put myself behind the 8 ball there at the beginning. I'm not really sure. I ain't been able to look back at it. I feel like it's more of a racing deal than anything, but I took blame for it just to be on the safe side, and able to rally up to third. And it's just such a big advantage to have track position there at the end. It's just everybody was arrow tight when you're behind somebody, so that was just a big key, and we didn't have it there at the end.
But we had a long green flag run, including a green flag pit stop. Did you have any sort of plan going into that, or were you just reacting off the drivers around you?
Yeah, well, I knew when I kind of got behind the 8 ball there at the beginning, I knew I was going to have to try something different. So when they all came down, I was like, well, just try my luck right here and see if I can stay out and get a caution, kind of pin them a lap down. And held out as long as I could, but I knew they were going to have a big advantage on fresh tires as well. So I just ended up having to bite the bullet and come down, and just got stuck on the same strategy as them.
Well, this is going to bring an end to our season and an end to the racing year as we go on our summer break. But can we expect to see that 90 machine back out on the racetrack come this fall?
Oh yeah, yes sir. I'll definitely be back, and hopefully to improve on a few spots in the point standings.
Well, there's definitely been some improvement here as you are going to come home in third place in the championship and third place in this race. Before we let you go, we are going to give you the microphone. I'm sure you are used to this song and dance by now. Who would you like to thank for your run tonight and for this season?
Oh yeah, of course. I thank my dad for all the season, for all the help and support and spotting for me. I thank all my family and friends for all the support. My wife for letting me do it. I'd like to thank my main sponsor, Chris and Alan Perrier with Caldwell Banker Elite. I'd like to thank Robbie, Dustin, everybody, all the sponsors that went into this season. It was a successful season, really great, clean racing every race, I felt like. Even here tonight, 175 laps, I think we had like 2 cautions. So just a great league. Glad to be a part of it, and just kudos to Bryan again on a really, really great, consistent season.
All right, Dylan, well, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. We'll be looking forward to seeing you again in the new racing season in the fall. But until then, you have yourself a good night. Thank you once again for coming and talking to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that was Dylan Connor, our third place finisher, both in this race and in the championship. And now our second place finisher is going to be catching up with Roger.
That's right, we have the number 5 of Scott Austin standing by here. Scott, a great run for you here tonight in this number 5. You're going to come up a couple points short on this one. What more did you need here tonight to maybe go up there, get around the number 2 of Bryan Hacker, maybe throw a couple banana peels out the window at him?
Yeah, I wish I had a few that race. Hats off to him. I mean, it starts with the first race of the season. He ran so well all season long that it was just going to have to be try to be second best until he ultimately has a bad night, which doesn't happen very often. So hats off to him. Congrats on a pretty dominant season and a good championship. Pretty honored to be second place. To be honest with you, there's a lot of really good guys in this league, and I feel like I've seen some improvement in myself that I'm proud of. So I'm happy to be second place this year.
Well, you talk about the improvement in yourself. I can tell you, my friend, the thing looked good out there. I can say that coming from a long line of, well, we've been behind the mic to watch you for a long time. But, hey, this season, you're going to finish it off second here. Talk about the season, though, that got you to this final race with a chance. Where do you think you could have made up, say, 15 points throughout those first 9 races to give you an even better shot here to go heads up against Hacker?
Yeah, I think ultimately it comes down to just, some raw speed. I struggle with qualifying a little bit. Connor, Elvis, Hacker, those guys are just super fast every track, everywhere we go, and I kind of just try to hope and rely on my racecraft and just trying to keep it clean and, just kind of being around and just kind of happy to be up front. And it got me second place this year, so now we're going to go back to the drawing board and just work on just having more speed, and then hopefully we can combine the two and come up one better spot next season.
Well, we look forward to hopefully hearing next year your name being crowned as a champion. This year, though, it is going to be number 2 in the overall championship standing. So before we let you head off into the offseason, I know there's a lot of people on the quarter panels. I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes that we don't even know that help this car, 1, look good, and 2, drive as fast as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thanks to my wife. It's our 8-year anniversary today, and I'm down here racing. So hats off to her for being awesome. My mom and dad, they watch the races as well. Congrats again to my teammate, Bryan Hacker. Justin McDuff had a really good season coming back, showing strong right off of the bat. Thanks to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. I really enjoy going back and watching these things. NSRL and the admins, everybody who put this thing together, it's definitely a good place to race. I stick around for a reason. Mad Plowing, J&D Farms, ZooFab Garage, RC2 Graphic Solutions, all of them as well for the support all year long. Congrats to Dylan Connor as well. Just a good season battling with him. Last couple races there, we were able to kind of race side by side a little more often than we usually do. So hats off to him for a 3rd place in the championship, and looking forward to next season.
There you hear it. He finishes number 2 here tonight after 175 laps, and after 10 rounds of hard racing, he'll finish 2nd overall in the championship standings. That's the number 5 of Scott Austin. So you heard from 3rd with Kelly. You heard from 2nd with me. I think, Kelly, that means there is only one more person out there to talk to tonight.
Yeah, going to be catching up now with Bryan Hacker, race winner and champion of the season. And Bryan, it was a long 10-race season. It got a little tight at the end, but how did you close it out?
Yeah, I'm glad we finished the season here. This is one of my better tracks, and felt pretty confident coming into tonight, and things kind of shook out our way. I think we had pretty good race pace. We could save pretty well, and then whatever went on behind us just kind of played out in our favor too. So glad it ended here. Was a little disappointed coming away from South Boston. I felt like we could have held on to win that one, and that would have put us in a position coming into tonight where really all we had to do was start the race. But glad we were able to run the race that we ran and come away with the championship.
Well, it wasn't quite easy going. It looked like it was going to be a cruise to the victory here for you, but then we had that late race caution. I mean, what was going through your head when you saw that yellow flag come out?
It took me a second to realize that the yellow had come out, and then I had to see exactly how many laps were left and how many cars were on the lead lap. And I really wasn't pushing all that hard that last run. I knew that Scott and Brandon were fighting pretty hard, and I just wanted to save in case something happened at the end. But I knew that even not pushing it too hard, I still had quite a few laps on the tires, so I wanted to come in and at least take right sides, and I was curious as to how many people would try to stay out and shake things up, but luckily everybody else behind us pitted and made that restart a little bit easier on us. I was pretty worried with what we were gonna do, I kind of figured if the leader pits, there's at least gonna be a couple guys that don't. But again, glad that it kind of shook out the way that it did, and also glad that Scott could hold on for a second and kind of bring it 1-2 in the race and in the points.
Well, if I remember correctly, the champion does get a champion track choice for next season. Have you put any thought into that? Are you going to do something standard, or are you going to go a little off the rails with your choice?
No, I'm more of a standard short track guy. If I go off the rails, I'm only shooting myself in the foot typically. So, where we're sitting right here tonight at Myrtle Beach would be a pretty good choice for me. This has always been a good track for me, but we'll kind of see what goes on with the schedule next year. And I know this season or this fall, winter, spring, we tried three different series and three different types of cars, and we'll see how that shakes out next year. It might be 2 seasons potentially from what I'm hearing, and maybe a little bit longer in length. So I'm not sure, but Myrtle Beach is certainly up there on tracks that we would potentially pick.
Well, you've been up here nearly every race this season. You are well aware of this routine by now, so we're just going to let you have the microphone and let you thank whoever you wish to thank.
Yeah, first and foremost, want to thank the league admins for putting this thing on and giving us a fun place to race, and everybody that comes out week in and week out and challenges week in and week out. It's I think this is our third win on the season, and there were a lot of other winners out there, and dating back to Street Stocks and ARCA, there were a lot of winners total. This kind of three-peat series, so cool for everybody to come out and support the league. And Mortensen Auto Repair, Arbor Tree Systems, Al's Speed Shop, Zoofab Garage, J&D Farms, Sim Racer Hub, Mad Plowing, all the guys that help fund the league so that we have a place to come and do this and bring you guys out, and you guys do a bang-up job on the broadcast, and probably even more so tonight now that Al's not here. So excited to go back and watch that. Thanks to Scott Austin Designs, Justin McDuff for coming back out. It's the first time we've gotten him to run a full season in quite some time, so it was cool to see him back out. I think that's probably it.
All right, Brian. Well, congratulations once again. I'd like to thank you for coming out, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you in the fall when we get this thing back going again.
Yeah, hopefully everybody enjoys this summer, and we'll be excited to get things teed back off here in the fall.
All right, so that was Bryan Hacker, winner here tonight for the Mortensen Auto Repair Championship night at Myrtle Beach, and also your champion here in the North-South Racing League Late Model Stock Series. And I'm sure he'll be back again next season. Roger, you're only here for one race. What did you think of the North-South Racing League?
Absolutely barn burner right down to the end of this one, with some drama rolled up and kind of threw all your championship hopefuls right together at the end of this one for a 3-lap shootout where Bryan Hacker was able to hold off Scott Austin and Dylan Connor. I was honored here tonight, Kelly, to get back up in the booth with you. It's been a long time since you and I got to talk, and of course we got to thank Al for, I guess, going on a little bit of a vacation, allowing us to get up here to do this one final time, I guess. Well, I shouldn't say the final time, but the final time for these guys this season.
Yeah, it was a great race for these guys, a great run from Bryan Hacker, and it really just showed why these top 3 guys were the top 3 all season long. They were all very consistent, and it was really Bryan Hacker did tonight what he's done every single night. He was consistent, he was clean, he stayed out of trouble, and I believe that is the reason why he's champion. I was looking at stats earlier, and I mentioned his average finishing and his top 5 percentage, but the other one that really stood out for me was the fact he had 6 incidents this entire season. That's it.
That is absolutely crazy. That is for sure. But Bryan Hacker is a well-deserved champion. That is for sure. But man, We're going to wrap things up here tonight, race fans. We got to thank you. We got to thank all the sponsors behind it. I'm sure I'm going to mess some of them up because, well, we're just going to blame Al for not giving us the sheet. Bazoo Fab Garage, we got to thank the RC2 Graphics along with Sim Racer Hub, Mortensen's Auto. We got to also thank J&D Farms. That's not real, race fans. It's just a guy that wanted to hear it. Arbor Systems, and I do believe there's one more out there. Mad Plowing, for all their work that all those guys do, and of course all the admins allowing me to come out here. So for Kelly Dahl, for Brett the Jet, and especially for Al Smith, I'm Roger Muth, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's championship night right here from Myrtle Beach. And until the North-South Series comes back, race fans, and from all of us here at the Turn 3 Racing Network, we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you stay safe, and we will see you in Turn 3.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.